SpaceX with reusable rockets. There really weren't any reusable rockets. But the essence of revolutionizing space travel is reusability. If you throw the rocket away every time, the cost of access to space is extremely high. With respect to electric cars, there weren't any electric cars when we started making them, really. You couldn't buy any, to the best of my knowledge. So with Tesla, we wanted to make electric cars compelling and affordable. That was the goal. With respect to humanoid robotics, there are no useful humanoid robots at this point. There are sort of gimmicks, but there are no actually useful humanoid robots. And I think Tesla's going to make the first actually useful humanoid robots. And this will be quite a revolution, and I think something that everyone will want. Because I always think of, like, who wouldn't want their own personal C-3PO R2-D2?
Oh, yeah?
Of course. Everyone would want one, right? And then there would be many in industry providing products and services. This is why I say that humanoid robots will be the biggest industry, or the biggest product ever. Bigger than cell phones or anything else, because everyone's going to want one, and or maybe more than one, and there'll be many in industry.
I just want R2-D2 in C-3PO's body.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, I mean, a humanoid robot would be better than R2-D2 and C-3PO combined times 10.
Yeah.
So people often talk about sort of eliminating poverty and that kind of thing, but really how long have they been talking about that? There's lots of talk. There's lots of NGOs sort of trying to do these things, but really not succeeding. The evidence speaks for itself. But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. And Tesla won't be the only one that makes them. I think Tesla will pioneer this, but there will be many other companies that make humanoid robots. But there is only basically one way to make everyone wealthy, and that is AI and robotics.
And we can't talk about robotics without AI factories. And yesterday was such a historic day for the two nations, but also for all of us, where we celebrate the AI strategic partnership with the U.S., signed, witnessed by the Honorable President and His Royal Highness, about how we are committing our capital, energy, land to energize the AI U.S. ecosystem, to be able to build inference nodes, training nodes, and to be the most AI-enabled nation. With that announcement, tell me what's next in AI factories, Jensen.
There's a beautiful story about how Saudi Arabia is building AI refineries and now building oil refineries to AI factories.
I love that.
I've said that AI is an infrastructure, and the reason for that is, of course,
just to let you know, this guy is Jensen Huang. He is the CEO of NVIDIA.
Intelligence, of course, has applications into every field. And so it's going to be used by every company, every industry, every country. In that way, it's foundational, and therefore it's part of infrastructure. What is new about AI from a computer science perspective is that the way computing was done in the past was largely retrieval-based computing. Mm-hmm. Somebody typed in a story, or somebody created a piece of art, or came up with 4 versions of a digital ad, or it's all pre-built by somebody, which is then using a system to retrieve the appropriate version for you. It's a retrieval-based computing model. Hadoop and many of the frameworks and operating systems of the past, all designed to retrieve the appropriate information for you. But today, software is going to be generated in real time. It's generative. Based on the context, based on the circumstance, based on who you are, based on the problem you asked, based on your prompt, it will generate unique content for you. Every single time, for everybody, it's unique. When you use Grok, every time you use it is different. Just based on the prompt that you give it, and based on the circumstance, and so therefore, it used to be retrieval based. Today, it's generative, and if it's generative, then and every time is different, then you need AI factories all over the world to generate the content in real time, which is the reason why you need AI factories. And this is a unique way of doing computation, but the benefit, of course, is that everything isn't preconceived and pre-documented, and it's contextually sensible and therefore intelligent.
So AI factories and robotics, and we heard it yesterday from His Royal Highness, his vision, how to augment our workforce with roughly tens of millions of robotics to be able to infuse the next wave of productivity and progress. But this scares a lot of folks here when it comes to the future of jobs. So let's hear about your thoughts, Elon and Jensen, on that.
Sure. Well, if you say like in the long term, where will things end up? Long term, I don't know what long term is. Maybe it's 10, 20 years, something like that. For me, that's long term. My prediction is that work will be optional.
Optional.
Optional. So
we'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be like playing sports or a video game or something like that. If you want to work, in the same way, like you can go to the store and just buy some vegetables, or you could grow vegetables in your backyard. It's much harder to grow vegetables in your backyard, but some people still do it because they like growing vegetables. That will be what work is like, optional. Now, between now and then, there's actually a lot of work to get to that point. And I always recommend people read Ian Banks' culture books to get a sense for what a probable positive AI future is like. And interestingly, in those books, money doesn't exist. It's kind of interesting. And my guess is, if you go out long enough, assuming there's a continued improvement in AI and robotics, which seems likely, the money will stop being relevant at some point in the future. Now, there will still be constraints on power, like electricity and mass. The fundamental physics elements will still be constraints. But I think at some point, currency becomes irrelevant.
Jensen, any thoughts?
By the way, the NVIDIA earnings call is later today.
And by the way, since currency is relevant.
Cheers.
Elon just wants to share with you some breaking news. The two of us would like to share some breaking news. Let's see. I would say there's different horizons you could look at. Everybody's jobs will be different. I think that's for sure. How the students learn will be different. How people do their work will be different, obviously, because a lot of the things that we do mundanely or arduously or very difficultly are going to be done very simply. And so we're going to be more productive from that sense. One of the things that I will say is that for most people or a company, if your life becomes more productive, and if the things that you're doing with great difficulty become simpler, it is very likely, because you have so many ideas, you'll have more time to go pursue things. It is my guess that Elon will be busier as a result of AI. I'm going to be busier as a result of AI. And the reason for that is because we have so many ideas we want to pursue, so many things that we still have in our backlog inside our company that we can go pursue. If we were more productive, we can get to those things faster. And so in the near term, I would say that there's every evidence that we will be more productive and yet still be busier because we have so many ideas. One thing that I will say, give you some evidence, is that, and I was just telling Elon about this earlier, radiology, for example, has largely been converted to AI-driven radiology, and there's some really great companies doing that. And the surprising thing is the prediction that all radiologists would be the first jobs to go was exactly the opposite. The trend shows that there are more radiologists being hired now as a result of AI. And the reason for that, if you take a step back, it's because the goal of a radiologist is not to study the images. The goal of a radiologist is to diagnose a disease. Now the studying of the images became so productive, they could study more images, study more modalities, spend more time with the patients. And as a result, they were actually accepting more patients. We're doing more radiology all around the world. We're doing a better job with diagnosing disease. And so that's kind of the near-term outcome of AI and productivity. And we'll see what happens long-term. You know, when currency doesn't matter anymore, just, you know, let me know right before.
You'll see it coming. You'll see it coming.
We text often, so just
yeah, we do.
Yeah, just text it out.
Well,
yeah, let me know.
I kind of agree with both of you, because if you look at every technological trend, every general purpose technology has been net new positive for the globe, for humanity, and so forth. And let me share with you two case studies.
And Your Excellency, I think it's precisely the reason for that is because all the great ideas from innovators like Elon, that you have so many good ideas that
and
AI,
Jensen as well.
Yeah, well, you know,
Indeed.
thank you.
So let me share with you two stories from two Saudi innovators in collaboration with a lot of the great work that NVIDIA does, that Grok does. One is Professor Omar Yagi. All right. Let me say that again. One is Professor Omar Yagi, who is...
I might need to move the mic.
All right.
Yeah, come on, we'll share this one.
All right. So now...
Get close.
Let's try this one more.
Into space. So this is where it's kind of handy to have a space company, I guess. Sell the book.
Easier to cool chips in space, too.
Yes.
Easier to cool chips in space. Yeah.
Yes, there's definitely no water in space, so you're going to have to do something that doesn't involve water.
Just hang out.
Well, you just got to radiate.
That's right.
So my estimate is that actually that the cost of electricity, like the cost effectiveness of AI in space will be overwhelmingly better than AI on the ground. So long before you exhaust potential energy sources on Earth, long before, meaning like I think even perhaps in the 4 or 5 year time frame, the lowest cost way to do AI compute will be with solar powered AI satellites. So I'd say not more than 5 years from now.
Wow.
And just look at the supercomputers we're building together. Let's say each one of the racks is 2 tons. Out of that 2 tons, 1.95 of it is probably for cooling.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine how tiny that little supercomputer is, right? Each one of these GB300 racks will just be a little tiny thing.
And just electricity generation is already becoming a challenge. So if you start doing any kind of scaling for both electricity generation and cooling, you realize, okay, space is incredibly compelling. So, like, let's say you wanted to do, I don't know, 200 or 300 gigawatts per year of AI compute.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to do that on Earth. The U.S. average electricity usage, last time I checked, was around 460 gigawatts per year average usage. So something like, say, at 300, if you're doing 300 gigawatts a year, that would be like 2/3 of U.S. electricity production per year. Yeah. There's no way you're building power plants at that level. And then if you take it up to, say, a terawatt per year, impossible. Yeah. Like, you have to do that in space. There just is no way to do a terawatt per year on Earth. And in space, you've got continuous solar. You've got you actually don't need batteries because it's always sunny in space.
That's right, exactly.
And the solar panels actually become cheaper because you don't need glass or framing, and the cooling is just radiative. So that's why I think
that's the dream.
Yes,
that's the dream.
So Jensen, everybody last night was asking me, and I'm mindful it's earnings call for you today. So I'm going to say this delicately. Everybody has been asking me to ask you, are we going to have an AI bubble?
That's the last question. All right, let's. No. All right, let me just tell you what we see. Okay, so I think it's really important when you look at what's happening around the world and go back to first principles of what's happening in computer science and computing. There are three things that's happening. The first thing is that we all know that Moore's law has run its course, and the amount of demand for computing versus the amount of computation we can get out of general purpose computing is really challenging. And so the world's been moving to accelerated computing for some time. We've been pushing this now for over 20 years. Let me give you one statistic. I was just at supercomputing. 6 years ago, CPUs were 90% of the world's supercomputers, top 500 supercomputers. 6 years ago. This year, less than 15%. Went from 90% to 10%, and meanwhile, accelerated computing went from the other way, 10% to now 90%. Okay, so you're seeing that inflection point, the transition in high-performance computing from general-purpose computing to accelerated computing. Well, one of the most data-intensive, one of the most intensive computation things that the world does in cloud is data processing. Several $100 billion of computation is done on just raw data processing. It has nothing to do with AI. Just SQL processing, data frames, everybody's names, address, their sex, their age, where they live, how much money they make. All of that sits into a data frame, and that data frame drives the world today, whether it's in banking or whether it's in credit cards or, of course, e-commerce and everything from ad recommendation, and everything is driven off of that data frame. That data frame costs hundreds of billions of dollars to go compute. And so that's the number one thing, end of Moore's law. The second thing is generative AI. The most important application of the last 15 years is called REXs, recommender systems. How do we know what information to recommend to us in a social feed? How do you know what ad to recommend to somebody, what book to recommend, what movie to recommend? The internet is so gigantic, without a recommender system, that little tiny phone of us will have no chance of ever seeing the right information. That REXs is the engine of the internet today. That's going generative AI. It used to be running on CPUs, now it runs on GPUs. Which then says the third thing, if you just look at those two applications, many of the internet companies can build an enormous number of GPU supercomputers just doing that. Of course, then it creates the third opportunity on top of it, which is agentic AI. This is Grok, and this is OpenAI, this is Anthropic, this is Gemini. Agentic AI sits on top of that. But don't forget to think about what is happening underneath what everybody sees as AI today. There's a whole movement of computing from general purpose computing to accelerated computing. And that, if you take that into consideration, you'll come to the conclusion that in fact, what is left over to fuel that revolutionary agentic AI is not only substantially less than you thought, and all of it justified.
Well, I was just informed by the team that my boss and your bosses is going to talk next, the Honorable President and His Royal Highness the Crown Prince, and hence we ran out of time. But in essence, this is so much love for you, Elon and Jensen. But this, in essence, is a 92 alliance that shifted from energy to digital to the intelligence age, powered by pioneers such as Elon and Jensen, to serve humanity and create on a net new basis new economies, new jobs, and a better future for humanity, powered by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United States. Thank you for a lifetime partnership and friendship. Thank you, Elon. Thank you, Jensen.
Thank you.
So when you hear this kind of talk, and as I just told you a second ago about where we are and how just the terms they were using, I felt like Dr. Marty, as I said, in Back to the Future, because as they were talking, I'm like, what? A terabyte of electricity, a terawatt? What in the hell is that? They are, as you listen to these people talk, one of the things that's really interesting is they are speaking about things we don't even know yet. Yeah, the total electricity that's needed, we can't even do it on Earth because, we could do it up there because sunlight doesn't go away. And so Shanique was not going to have any idea what the hell they're talking about. The amount of technological prowess people are going to have just to be able to do data entry. The world is moving fast. I had never heard until that little segment. I had never even heard of what a terawatt is, much less how much power that can possibly be. Based on just the math, it sounds like a terawatt is 3 or 4 times the entire power usage of the entire planet right now. And they're talking about building terawatt stations that are going to be floating around. So even myself, as I listen to this, and there's information that they're saying that I don't know, I could check out, whatever, terawatt, or I can begin learning it. We all know that AI is reshaping the job market rapidly. AI is taking over our economy. Nearly half of workers worldwide fear unemployment due to AI and technology. Customer service, marketing, software, finance, even sales. No industry will be untouched. But the real issue is that people are still living in a bubble. They still think they won't get affected until it hits them like a Mack truck. But I want you to make a smart choice. This Black Friday, you are going to have a choice. While most people are spending on things that lose value, the smart ones are investing and learning what's shaping the future. Which is why I have teamed up with Outskill to bring you a 2-day live AI Mastermind training, which has so far been attended by over 10 million people globally. They're hosting a 2-day live AI Mastermind workshop this Saturday and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Now, usually this is a paid training worth $395, but Outskill is running their big Black Friday sale and are offering all of the Fanfare family a free seat in this training. A free seat for AI training. I highly recommend you attend this workshop. It won't cost you anything, because not only do you get AI certified, but you'll also learn how to build AI-powered workflows, how to use AI tools, and eventually launch AI-based businesses. These businesses are generating close to $5,000 in weekly revenue. It is rated 4.9 out of 5 on Trustpilot, and you get trained by expert mentors from companies like Microsoft, OpenAI, NVIDIA, Google, and more. People have actually built and shaped the current AI landscape. In just 16 hours, you will learn 10 plus AI-powered tools, master AI in Excel, sheets, and presentations. Start building your own AI agents and workflows, and even join a community of other AI builders inside their seamless learning dashboard to meet like-minded people and collaborate with them. But wait, there's more. If you attend both days, you'll unlock bonuses worth $5,000, including a prompt Bible. A prompt is something that you put into AI so that you can get the results that you want to get. You'll also get a roadmap to monetize AI and your own personalized AI toolkit. So if you're already planning your exciting weekend, trust me, nothing's more exciting than planning for your future. I've been talking about prosperity. This will help you get there. Save your free spot now by the link in the description before the seats vanish, and join their WhatsApp community so that you never miss a beat. Where we're going, we don't need roads. Where we're going, we don't need money. We're not even talking about the chip of the beast. We're talking about no need for it. I would love to sit down with Elon Musk and go, please delve more into that concept. Forget all the space stuff. Forget all the AI. Tell me how we're going to be a society with no need for cash. And I'm not talking about a chip. No need for money, is what he said. No need for currency. That's mind-blowing. So I don't know where guys with that kind of intellect are even thinking. That's so far advanced beyond most of us sitting here right now could even possibly imagine. But if that's what it's going to take to power this world moving forward, yeah, we're always going to need people to swing hammers. We're always going to need people to come and change light bulbs, to clean pools. Well, no robots are going to be able to do that. But if we're not trying as a society to better ourselves, to get ready for it instead of hiding from it, that's not gonna work. And so I am not a big advocate for H-1B visas, not at all. I'm a big advocate for business and progressive exploration and technology. And I know that we can't have that without having skilled workers. So if you're not for interim H-1B visas, then you're going to have to come up and convince me and convince other people what the hell we're supposed to do. Put everything on pause? Because that's what you're saying. Put everything on pause until Americans are ready. No, the world's not going to do that. The world's going to find a solution. Nature will find its way. You're not going to stop this progression. The robotics, the AI, the technology isn't going to wait for people to catch up. People better start running and training right now. And I hope, I know most of the people here are my age, some people are older, around that, and they're thinking, I'm not ready for all this. Well, it's not for you. You're at that position where you're starting to coast. Well, your relatives, the people behind you, those of us who are boomers, our mandate, what we must do as boomers, is not make sure people can buy a house. Buy your own damn house. My mandate to my grandkids is I need to make sure that they are continually educated so that they can be productive members of the society where it will be when they're grown. They're young girls, 12 and, Ashley's going to smack me, 12 and 14, no, 10, 11 and 13, and the grandson is 16. So he's closer to having to get ready. The girls still have time to be girls, but they need to be learning, hey, listen, you might want to start doing this or you're going to get left behind. And I, for one, am not going to wake up one day and have my grandkids go to me, what happened? I can't do anything. And so even if you're on the other side of life right now and you've put it into neutral and are coasting down the hill, there's people that need you. What are you going to say when opportunity knocks? See, that's the problem, I think, Bambi, we're having right now. Opportunity, when I was growing up, I remember that phrase, what are you going to do when opportunity knocks? And you have to be prepared to open the door. Right now, opportunity is running, and you better catch up with it because it's no longer going to take the time to knock and say, do you want to come along? It's out there. I am so sick of people complaining that I don't have any opportunity, I got no job, nothing's working for me. No patience. No, you cannot listen to these people here and think that there's no opportunity. And what I find interesting is, if you know the history of the people you heard talk today, not MBS, he's got Saudi money, but if you know the history of Jensen, if you know the history of Elon, and you didn't hear him, but if you know the history of Bezos, if you know the history of these guys, you realize how they got to where they are. There's no lottery ticket that they bought. They came and they kept trying. Over and over and over. Different businesses. What's going to work? What's not? Hey, I got an idea. I want to make electric cars. Oh, okay. Oh, I got an idea. I want to shoot rockets up in the sky. Well, I got an idea. I want to make these little chips. I got an idea. I want to be the biggest bookseller in the world and never publish anything. And then I'm going to be the biggest retailer in the world because people want to buy stuff besides books. But it all started way back. If you ever seen his picture when he was, younger, in a garage, packing up books. It literally, too many people look up here and go, wow, he's a gazillionaire, he shouldn't have that. But you don't hear him talking about where he was in his garage. Nope, you don't hear that. Why? Why don't you hear about Jeff Bezos in a garage somewhere packing books? Because it's too easy to look up and go, he shouldn't have that. but you don't know what the trek started with and how it started here and just kept going and going and going.